Hey everyone, just want to talk about the springs that I got here. These are 50-gram springs. I bought these directly from Sanwa's Rakuten store. Now, what's special about these springs? Well, as we know, the default spring switch combination for Sanwa buttons, these OPSAs for the UKs, are 100-gram springs, 100-gram switches. Now, that's a pretty heavy switch spring combination. So, for the lightning caps, uh, Konami decided to switch to a 50-50 gram setup. And that's what's in these buttons here. Now, 50-gram springs, these weren't manufactured until Konami decided to specifically commission them. Now, what's special about these 50-gram springs? Well, I think if you don't care about an lightning cap accurate setup, I think these are still going to appeal to people who like light spring setups with some restraint. Here's what I mean. I've got the 60-gram springs in here. I don't like them, and the 60 grams they seem to be more reasonable than 100-gram springs, but they're still kind of fatiguing for me. Now these 40-gram springs, here, this is what comes default in the buttons out of Dow, the Dow Chinese buttons. Here's a problem you can run into with light spring setups. I tend to rest my fingers on the keys, and if your spring's a little too light, you're liable to actually actuate the switch just resting on the buttons, and that's especially prevalent if you're like me and you have a light switch to go with your light spring. I have 25-gram switches on all of these. Uh, so if I just like rest my finger on them, I will often just activate them out of nowhere. The 50 grams, that 10-gram difference doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a little bit more restraint. It's not as fatiguing as the 60 grams. They still feel very light, but they're just enough that I'm not pressing the switch when I'm not trying to. You can see here also one thing about the springs. There's another reason to avoid the 40-gram springs that come with the Dow buttons. You see here that, yes, the 100-gram spring, pretty tall, but these 60 grams and these 50 grams are pretty much the same height. And these 40 grams, they were cut from a 60 gram to make up the difference. I don't know if this makes much of a difference, but it does seem to cause a shorter travel distance, and that feels a little weird. Maybe not everyone comes to the same experience, but that's how I felt, and I don't like the feel of these 40 grams. So, why am I telling you all this? Well, I'm going to be selling these 50-gram springs. These are hard to get. I've not seen anyone else resell them in the United States. So these are going to be how much? $22 for a 7-pack. That $22 comes with free domestic United States shipping from USPS First Class Mail. Now, just a note, these springs will not be shipping for at least another week. Unfortunately, I got the coronavirus, so if I step into a post office, that's liable to cause a super spreader event. So you're gonna have to wait a week. I'm gonna start orders now, but it's gonna take a week or so for them to start shipping. But they'll be coming in via USPS First Class. That's $22 for these 50-gram springs. I hope people enjoy these springs. These made my home setup for me.